Welcome back to another video. In this video we'll be sorting out the front caliper, and I'll tell you how this came about. Basically, last weekend me and Sarah Jane went out in the car because I haven't used it in a few weeks, and I thought, you know, saying it needs to go for a run. So we took it out. It didn't feel right from the start. It just felt a little bit slow. It was like something was holding it back, and so I carried on driving for a little bit just to see if it was all in my head. I pulled over, I had smoke pouring out. I could see, I was thinking, oh no, I've like blown the car up, if something happened. But I got out, checked it out, and basically the caliper was smoking. The front brakes were smoking. Managed to get it home after losing the brakes. Basically had no braking power at all by the time we nearly got home. But we got home, so this is the caliper. It looks proper burnt. This is one proper seized caliper where it's got so hot. But now we'll be changing this. I've got a new caliper, so let's start the video and get this caliper changed and get this TT back on the road. So these are the parts we've got to sort the job out. We've got a brand new brake hose and a new caliper. As you can see, it's got the original Audi Volkswagen casting, but just been refurbished by Pageant, so it's as good as new now. First things first, let's just give it a good clean down with some brake cleaner, because we are going to paint it. So now on goes some red Hammerite paint. I always use Hammerite to paint my calipers. I always find the caliper paint not that great, and Hammerite just works better. It sticks really well, and it's quite a nice thick paint, so you don't have to put too many coats on. So let's get that all painted up and get that looking fresh. A few little touch-ups on the side, and now let's whip the wheel off so we can access the caliper. There it is. Right, let's take the little clip off, the retaining clip that's on the front of the caliper. Just need a flathead screwdriver for that. And next, let's remove the caliper with a 7mm Allen key. I use the proper brake thing, but we'll remove the plastic bungs first, put the Allen key in, and let's loosen these two pins that go through the caliper into the caliper carrier. And pull the pins out. Next I try and loosen the caliper, and it does come straight off. I'm such a relief that's come straight out. Sometimes they can be really stiff to come off once they've been seized. It's clamped the brake line so we don't get any brake fluid anywhere, even though we will anyway, and spray a bit of lube on the top of the brake hose and remove the ABS sensor. And now with an 11mm, we'll undo the other end of the brake caliper hose off the caliper so we can totally remove it from the car. So let's loosen the other end of the brake hose with an 11mm again to loosen that all off so we can remove the brake hose. Now that's all loose. It's held in by a few little clips which we can get off with a couple of flathead screwdrivers. Let's clean up the area with a wire brush just to get any badness off, any corrosion, anything like that, and then re-grease the pads. So the pads have only done a couple of thousand miles. They're new enough like new, and to be lucky they haven't cracked anything, they have survived. So a bit of anti-squeal on the back so we don't want those squeaky brakes. And a little bit of lube in the carrier where the pads will be sliding. Refit the pad into the caliper, the other one onto the carrier, and push the caliper back onto the car and refit the pins and start doing those up. Put the little dust caps back on once we've done this. Right, out with the new hose and put it back in the bracket it's supposed to go, and attach new washers and tighten back up with the 11mm. With the other end of the brake hose, fit that back in, tighten that up with a 11mm and refit the retaining clips in the brackets. Now it's time to start bleeding. So let's crack the nipple open, top up the brake fluid, because you don't want to be running low on brake fluid while you're trying to bleed it. With Sarah Jane in the car, I've got her pushing down on the pedal as I open it, and then as I lock it off, she's coming back up with the pedal and then pushing back down, and then I unlock it, just to get the air out of the system and to get the fluid pumping. You don't want any air bubbles in the hose. As you can see, use a clear hose and then you can see if you've got any air bubbles. Once that's all done and you've got a pedal and it's gone hard, let's put the wheel back on. So with the wheel back on, I've lowered the car, I've topped up the brake fluid to max so I know we've got enough brake fluid in there. So the new caliper's all on now with the hose, just taking it for a drive just to make sure everything is okay. It does seem to all be fine, so that has definitely solved the problem. So stay tuned, get ready for the next one, because the next one I'll be showing you another project that we've just taken on. But if you're on my Instagram, you will know about this already, so we're going to do a video of what it is, what problems it's got and stuff like that.